continue with some examples of multiplication. And what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at choosing two cards from a standard deck, and we're not going to replace them. So when you do not replace the cards, you have to pay attention to the fact that you drew one card out on the first draw. Now, here we want both cards to be kings. Now, a couple of things that you need to remember. There are a total of 52 cards, and there are 4 kings in the deck. And so we draw 2 times. So here's our first draw, and here's our second draw. And so on the first draw, we want to draw a king. Well, that's a possibility of 4 out of 52. We want this to be a king, so in order for us to get both kings, we have to draw a king here. So if we draw a king here, that means we now only have 3 kings to draw from. And we've taken one of these cards out, so now we only have 51 total cards to select from because we are not putting it back in. We're keeping it out. Since we want both cards, we're wanting this and we're wanting this other thing, that is a multiplication because we're wanting 2 separate events. These are not 2 characteristics of the same thing. These are 2 separate events. And so then we multiply. When we multiply these, we can simplify these fractions if we want to. And if we simplify, or we don't have to, but if we just multiply straight across, that's going to give me, let's see here, 12 out of, let's see here, 52 times 51 would give me 2652. And if I do that, I would end up with a fraction of a 1 over 221. And that again is without replacement. If I did replace, then it would be 4 over 52 times 4 over 52. So we have to pay attention to whether they are replaced or they are not replaced. Now, here in example 6, we have a bag contains 4 blue marbles and 2 red marbles. So there's a total of 6 marbles. We want the first to be blue, the second to be a red, and we want the third to be a blue. Okay, marbles are not going to be replaced. So if we think about this, for the first one to be blue, let's just start with, I've got 4 blues, and then I've got 2 reds. Okay, so for the first one to be blue, I have 4 out of 6. So I'm going to erase one of those. Now for the second one to be red, I now have 2 out of only 5 left. So I'll erase one of those. For the third one to be blue, I now have 3, and now I only have 4 left. And since I want and, I'm going to multiply all of these. And so I will multiply, and I will get 24 out of 120, which can simplify into 1/5. Since what happens on the first draw affects what will happen on the subsequent draws. In other words, notice that my denominator changes. It also changes my numerator over here. These are called dependent events. They depend on what happens on the first or second draw. But if I look at this one, where the marbles are replaced, I have 4 blue and 2 red. And they are going to be replaced. So my first draw is going to be 4 out of 6. My second draw for red is going to be 2 out of 6 because I put that one blue one back. And then my third one is also going to be 4 out of 6 because I put that blue and the red one back. And then I multiply those, and I get 32 out of 216, which is going to be 4 out of 27. And so you'll notice that there is a difference whenever they are replaced or not replaced. So you have to pay attention to, are you replacing the events or are you not replacing the events?